honestly can't tell if I want to laugh or cry when I think about how much time I wasted at the start of my fitness journey. I spent years falling for pretty much every single piece of bad advice on the internet. Training arms will make you bulky, better skip curls entirely. If I don't chug a protein shake 30 minutes post-workout, then the session is wasted. Say no more. I've got my shake in hand the second I rack my weights. Yeah, it's safe to say I actually had no clue what I was doing. So if you've ever believed any of this, don't worry, you're not alone. Let's break down all of the worst mistakes I made at the start of my fitness journey so you don't have to. First, following influencer advice. Now I know what you're thinking, but I'm different, Pookie, I swear. When I first started lifting, I would blindly follow the advice of the first influencer I saw with the body I wanted. I mean, if she looks like that, she must know what she's talking about, right? But after spending some time in this space, I can say with a lot of confidence that the truth is the complete opposite. Most influencers are where they are, not because they cracked some secret muscle building code, but because of their genetics. Now, don't get me wrong, a lot of them do put in the work, but for most of them, their genetics do most of the heavy lifting. Especially in the female fitness space, a lot of influencers do just have natural hourglass proportions. Even if they didn't train, if they ate right, their proportions and their fat distribution would just make them look that way naturally. Most of them also have at least 5 to 10 years of training experience. What works for them now and what they're showing you now probably isn't what got them there in the first place. So copying their current workout plan, probably not the best move. The solution is to educate yourself. Now, I'm not saying you need to go full nerd mode and get a degree in biomechanics, but doing a little research before jumping into the first workout routine you see online can save you years of wasted effort. One of the biggest things I've learned is that you need to have at least a very basic understanding of how a muscle functions. Not just this exercise works the glutes, but why it works the glutes and how to properly load the glutes in order to see some growth. If you can understand a muscle's function, its origin, insertions, and movement patterns, you can choose exercises that actually bias and load that muscle instead of just doing whatever you think looks cool. All you need to do is learn basic anatomy. And by basic, I literally mean Google what X muscle group does, and then look at some diagrams or some YouTube videos on that muscle group. From this little grain of knowledge, you'll know what exercise best aligns with the muscle's mechanics and what will be the best use of your time. Secondly, thinking more was better. I used to think that in order for a workout to count and to maximize my gains, I had to spend at least 2 hours in the gym absolutely destroying a muscle group, get a crazy pump, and be sore for days. But oh boy, was I wrong. None of these things are actually indicators of muscle growth. For a muscle to grow or hypertrophy, the rate of muscle protein synthesis must exceed muscle protein breakdown over time. So the key to a good workout isn't how sore or fatigued you feel, it's about stimulating your muscles with adequate volume and mechanical tension and allowing adequate recovery so your body can increase the number of contractile proteins within the muscle fibers, making them bigger and stronger over time. So to create a workout plan that actually counts, you don't need to get a crazy pump, be in there for 2 hours and then be sore for days. Start with 5 to 10 sets per muscle group per week, doing 1 to 3 exercises per muscle group and 4 to 6 total in a given session. Train each muscle group 2 to 3 times a week and train within a close proximity to failure, around 1 to 2 reps shy. Muscle growth is all about training smarter, not so hard that you can't walk for weeks. And similarly to my last mistake, my next biggest mistake was misunderstanding progressive overload. Everyone and their mother online says if you want to grow muscle, then you need to progressively overload every single session. And me, being the intellectual genius that I am, translated this into I need to be adding weight on the bar every single week or I'm not going to build muscle. Did this work? Sure, for a hot minute. But soon enough, I found myself doing 60 kilo barbell rolls with the structural integrity of one of those inflatable balloon men you see outside a car dealership. Ego lifting under the guise of progressive overload won't fast track your gains, but it certainly will fast track your chiropractor appointments. To quickly revisit the science, muscle growth happens as a result of mechanical tension within a workout and adaptation. This means that progressive overload isn't actually something that you can force, and it's just something that naturally happens by the body over time when you work out and adapt. So lifting too heavy with bad form doesn't load the target muscle and honestly just leads to injury over time. But that is not to say that we need to be the form police and you need to have perfect, optimal form at all times in order to grow muscle. The sweet spot actually lies somewhere in between challenging yourself with a weight that's slightly out with your comfort zone and complete ego lifting. You want to be able to push push hard and lift enough weight to stimulate adaptation without going full ego mode. I personally use rep ranges as an easy way to track progressive overload. Let's use a 6 to 8 rep range for example. On week 1, I would choose a weight for a given exercise I can do for 6 reps, around 1 to 2 reps shy of failure. And then on week 2, I would be aiming for 7 reps with the same proximity to failure and the same weight I was doing as the week before. And then on week 3, we would be aiming for 8 reps with the same weight as before with the same proximity to failure. The whole point of progressive overload is essentially to keep your training environment as similar as possible while getting stronger, so you can track if you're actually getting stronger or not. Moving away from training, some of the biggest things that I fell for actually came from nutrition. When I first started working out, I would eat as little as possible, which quickly turned into eating as much as possible. But I think the biggest thing that I fell for was thinking I could eat whatever I wanted because I worked out. And I can honestly blame my mum for this one, who used to tell me very famously that because I work out, I never need to worry about what I'm eating. And yeah, gaining muscle raises your resting metabolic rate, and cardio does burn calories, but nowhere near as much as me and my poor mum thought. For every kilo of muscle you have, I think your resting energy expenditure increases by something very small, like 26 calories a day. And also, cardio doesn't even burn that many calories. For someone of my height and my size at 5'2" and 56 to 57 kilos, running at my max effort for 30 minutes only burns 250 calories. 250 calories. Is that even a protein bar? But thermodynamics also unfortunately applies to healthy food. Just because a food is labeled as healthy, it doesn't mean that you can eat as much as you want and not gain weight. Fat loss or gain is all about energy balance. Although it is harder to overeat high quality foods because they're less palatable than those chemically designed to make you want to eat more, it's not impossible. If you want to look a certain way or reach a certain goal in the gym, it is more than likely that you're going to have to pay at least some attention to what you're putting in your body. Now, this doesn't mean obsessively counting your calories. Personally, I prefer eating at maintenance and prioritizing high quality foods that are high in protein that I know will help with my energy levels throughout the day and help improve my recovery. I still enjoy all my favorite foods in moderation, but I am very mindful of my portion sizes and how that food actually makes me feel. Sure, I could technically fit an entire sleeve of Oreos into my macros for the day, but at what cost? For me, personally, this results in night sweats, a lot of headaches, and just feeling absolutely terrible after it. So while you can eat whatever you want, technically, remember, food is fuel. Eat good foods, more than likely you're gonna feel pretty good. Similarly to diet, or lack thereof, I also fell down the supplement rabbit hole when I first started lifting. I genuinely used to think and tell myself, I'm not growing because I'm not taking this supplement. I spent a ridiculous amount of money on protein powders, creatine, pre-workout, BCAAs, you name it, I took it. And did I do a single bit of research on any of these supplements to see if they did what they said they did? No. Did I even have a vague idea of what these supplements were supposed to do? No. If my favorite influencer took it, I took it too. When looking back, I definitely used supplements as a scapegoat for my perceived lack of progress, when I wasn't meeting the bare minimum landmarks for nutrition and training in order to grow muscle. And the reality is, supplements, unless anabolic, have a very minimal impact on your muscle growth. For instance, protein powder can be super helpful if you find it hard to hit your protein goal on a daily basis, but if you're eating enough protein on the daily, then why would you need to supplement it? They're also massively understudied. Unless we're talking about creatine, most supplements only have 1 to 2 long-term studies on their effects. The majority of supplements on the market for muscle growth rely on limited or indirect evidence or influencer marketing in order to push their product. Supplements can absolutely help fill the gaps that you have in your nutrition, but 99% of your muscle growth is going to come from a good training routine and good diet practices. Supplements should complement, not replace, these foundations. I recently did a full video on what supplements I would actually recommend for muscle growth, so if you are interested in taking supplements and you're ticking all your other boxes, I will leave a link for it here. Outside of training, nutrition, and supplements, the absolute worst thing I fell for was my idea of perfection. Especially with the rise of optimal training and diets online, I definitely fell for a lot of analysis paralysis at the start of my lifting journey. If I couldn't be absolutely perfect right from the start, then I simply couldn't start. Chasing perfection led to me program hopping, overcomplicating everything, and trying to specialize small muscle groups before actually building a solid foundation of muscle to know what muscle groups needed specialized. This idea of needing to be perfect before starting led to a lot of anxiety and fear of being judged in the gym, which ultimately led to stagnation in my training. To get over this, and I know it sounds unbelievably cliche and I kind of hate myself for saying it, but you just need to start. No matter what we do in this life, we're probably going to suck when we first do it. And that's okay. Think about it. Can you name a single person in the gym whose plan you know off by heart, and if you know if they're doing it completely optimally or not? Can't name one? Yeah, it's because you're not watching anyone that closely, and the same goes for you. All you need to do is pick a very basic plan that fits pretty seamlessly into your lifestyle and that you can stick to for at least 3 to 6 months. Even if it's not the greatest, most optimized plan in the world, if you're a newbie, it probably won't matter that much anyway, because you have the privilege of tapping into some newbie gains and gaining muscle kind of just by looking at the dumbbells. Going to the gym and building muscle is very much a learn on the job type of thing. Someone can explain to you the most optimal and perfect form for an exercise, but without trying that form yourself and understanding the biomechanics of your body and how that affects the exercise form, you're never going to really know the form for that exercise anyway. Or what exercises are best for your body for that matter. Pendulum squats might be a very optimal exercise for most people when trying to grow their quads, but if you do it and it hurts your back, then it's not optimal for you. Every piece of advice that you see online should be a guideline, not a strict rule for your own training. At the end of the day, all that matters is that you can stick to what you're doing, and what you're doing is putting you in the right direction for your goals. A half-decent plan followed for 2 years is way better than spinning your wheels for 2 years, trying to find the most optimal plan and then working out in a way that isn't even good for your body. Focus on finding the workouts and exercises that you enjoy, because enjoyment will drive consistency much more than perfection does. Those were just some of the many muscle building and nutrition and supplementation and perfection things that I fell for at the start of my lifting journey. And to be honest, there's probably much more where that came from. Building muscle and creating a healthy lifestyle is never straightforward. We're constantly learning and growing. Even science is ever changing as better evidence emerges, helping us train smarter and eat smarter over time. I would love to hear down in the comments some of the main things that you guys fell for at the start of your lifting journey, or even fell for recently, because I sure have fell for quite a few things recently, actually. Don't forget to like and subscribe while you're down there and join the family. And hopefully I will catch you guys in my next one.